Say?
I
We are live. What did you say?
was like, I'm nervous.
Oh, it's okay. We're both wearing black, so that's cool. And your hair looks really nice and sleek.
Oh, thank
I
you.
like that. Great morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to Chai Together. I am your host and founder, Pratipa Day. Today, you are tuning in for your cup of courage, hope, and imagination today. And I am here with Miss Laura Lavender, and her name is Laura Barba, but she's known as Laura Lavender. So we are here today to talk about all things astrology and regarding sleep paralysis and astropsychological things as much as we can to our knowledge and all of Laura's knowledge being in this field. And check out her awesome website, www.mysteriesbeyond.com. And you will be very surprised with the color of her website that may overwhelm you with beauty. So that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, thank you.
What color do you think it is, Laura Lavender?
Right.
Aw.
Yeah.
So tell us how you feeling.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me on.
Oh yeah.
And I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling good. Feeling great.
You look nice. Your place looks nice. What time is it where you are?
It's 8:00 in the morning.
Oh wow.
Wait.
Well, you're a champ. It's 11
Yeah.
here, so you're a champ.
Well, it's okay. I'm a morning person.
I love that.
I am. Like, I don't even need the coffee. I'm just
Yes. Well, you know, they say when you wake up that, you know, it's a habit people drink coffee unless you drink it consciously to enjoy, you know, but that your body, when you wake up, if you have a full rest, you don't need coffee for energy, you know, or caffeinated teas. And one thing I learned that is uncaffeinated decaf tea is not tea because a tea leaf actually has caffeine in it. So it's a placebo. And I never knew that until like last year, I think, or this year, like my adult life, like, you know, you just see caffeine free, but it's like, oh, it's just sugar. It's like a placebo. Like,
wow. Yeah.
did you know that?
Actually didn't know that.
Yeah, because every tea leaf has caffeine in it because it's plant, you know, a tea leaf is a plant. So, but Sadhguru, you know, if you know Sadhguru, I follow his teachings and I learned that from him. So I was very fascinated by that and like the small things that you can learn from, you know, listening to others who have that wisdom, I feel like is very key. So, which gets me to ask you, you know, you becoming Laura Lavender, how has that process been? Like, how many years has this been happening for you, this transformation?
Well, you know, my spiritual journey began back in 2016, and it all began with food, interestingly enough. That's when I made the switch to become a vegan. And that's when everything changed. Like, veil was lifted, just so many things changed for the good. But yeah, I believe like you were talking about like tea, you know, plant leaves and stuff. If you go back to your natural, you know, foods and like your vegetables and your grains, and I believe food is energy, but it's also information.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer in that. And that's when my experiences started happening. The Laura Lavender, I just resonate with that name more because Laura Barba, yes, that's my legal name, but Laura Lavender is who I created and who I, you know, and lavender, well, obviously my favorite color is purple. So I like pretty much all shades of purple, and lavender is one of them. But it represents to me tranquility, serenity. It's the color of the third eye chakra.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, catchy, right? Laura Lavender.
What do they say about lavender on its own? Like, what does it symbolize?
Yeah, I mean,
you know, yeah.
As far as like the herb, or
yeah, like I guess the color. Like, have you ever like researched? You know, what does the color symbolize? What does the herb, you know, symbolize? We all know like lavender is relaxing. I actually have like something called the dreamer oil. It's lavender scent for, you know, if you have anxiety or I don't use it for that. I use it for just, you know, like pleasure, like to smell it. It's nice. But you know, it's good for sleeping and things. So I just want to know, like, did you ever like research, you know, about lavender and the color purple and things of that nature?
Not like as far as the color, but I know that like the herb lavender, if you're going to use it for like magical properties, I know it represents protection, you know, happiness, calmness. So all of that is what I resonate with.
Yeah, but did you ever research like what does lavender symbolize? I guess like the color lavender I'm talking about. That's something cool that I should too,
I
like
am. I am
Google,
now.
right? It's very easy. Because I remember I've done it before, like, when I was wearing a lot of black or green, it's like, when you go through phases of your life, it's like, okay, it says people who wear black, like they're this personality type or represents this, like all these symbols we have with colors, or like, for example, like, I have red glasses. Like before, you would not see me wearing like red. Like I don't have like red, or you would not see me with such bold glasses, but because of the woman that I've become and the work that I do, I am so bold and fierce and courageous and everything that I do, right? So I feel like I've earned this color. Like I didn't used to like red or bright colors, um, so neutral, but I'm saying like I stepped into that power. So for you, you've always been like a lover of purple. I know it may seem like, oh, it's becoming deep, it's just a color, but
No,
it's
yeah.
really something to think about, because my favorite color used to be yellow, and that was like, my personality, bubbly, outgoing, and all that good stuff, like very giggly. And you always resonating with the color purple, and then being Laura Lavender, it's like you've sustained this part of you long term, and made something of this brand.
Yeah. Well, I know that on the color spectrum, I think it's got like a higher vibration to it, where like
Mm,
red and black are more of like a lower. But there's so many interpretations to it, though.
it is.
Red for you might be a color, it's like you said, that you need, and it's like a sign, right? It's like something that
Hmm.
you visualize, and it's a reminder that you are who you are. You are courageous and you are brave. So you wear it
Yes.
like a honor, like a badge of
And since
honor.
I had my birth chart reading with Roberto, shout out to Roberto if you do see this part or whatever. And I just want to say to him, so I'm a Capricorn, I'm a cardinal sign, but he told me I have an Aries personality. That is so true, because I'm a fire sign. I have a short fuse. Maybe that's why I'm wearing the red glasses, but I can go 0 to 100. Very ambitious, very driven. I'm a go-getter. I'm a yes or no person, nothing in between. Very direct, and not for everybody. Like I'm very spicy, like feisty and things of that nature. So, but I step into that power unapologetically. So I feel like Laura Lavender suits you, because you are mellow. You said you were introverted, and
Yeah.
your nature is just like pure. I feel like you're more focused on yourself. So do share, some of the work that you do and when you started doing this work.
Well, like I said, it began back in 2016, and then it really started with my experiences that I had. So, like, sleep paralysis was even way before 2016. So I was
Mm.
23 at the time, and I woke up one morning and I couldn't move.
Wow.
And I was completely conscious, though. I could see everything around me. I could see like the foot of my bed. I could see
Yes.
my window. I could see the sun rays coming through my window. I could see my door. And
Yes.
my husband was on my side, and I remember trying to like touch him to like
Mm.
wake me up, but I couldn't move. And it was so
Yes.
scary. But it didn't get scary until I actually saw like the shadow on a corner,
Mm.
like towards my door.
Hmm.
And as soon as I acknowledged it, it like morphed into this shadowy, dark being.
Wow.
And that's when I knew that there's a whole other world, and that these beings actually do exist. And it slowly started to creep, like slowly towards my legs, towards my knees, coming up, and then it came like right to my face, and it placed its like hand on my mouth, so it was suffocating.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
I felt like I was going to die. Like,
Wow.
okay, this is it. This is the
Hmm.
end, right? And then somehow, like, I just gave in. I don't know. It was probably a really bad thing. Like, I just
Yeah.
gave into that. And I don't know if it got what it wanted from me. Like, it got that fear, or it got me to submit
Hmm.
to it, but it went away. And I was able to, like, snap back into my, like, self, and I was able to move. And I could
Mm.
not sleep. I could not sleep for days. Like,
Wow.
I think I was afraid. My favorite position to sleep is on my back, and I couldn't do that. So it was uncomfortable falling asleep, and it just created a lot of anxiety. But I didn't begin exploring that. Like,
Mm.
I didn't have anything to like look up. Like, I've never experienced that. And of course, the people in my close proximity who I did speak about that with had no idea what I was talking about. They just looked at me like I was crazy. And it wasn't until much later where I became vegan and I had a lucid dream, and I started like going on the internet and exploring and diving deep into it. Like, what are all these things that are happening to me that I was able to understand? And now I'm just here and I'm just going to stand up to them, whatever they are, face them.
This is very interesting because until you brought up the term sleep paralysis, I didn't realize that that's what I used to have in my younger years for years. And lucid dreams, a lot of it very scary, where I'm being tied up by a rope to be killed, different things, and where I do feel a hand, on my shoulder, or I can't move. I see my room. I want to get up. I'm reaching out to my mom, going in the other room, but it's not me. Like, I can't get up. This is all just coming to me. And I never knew it was sleep paralysis. So I just learned that there's something else that I overcame. And who knows how many other things, right? All the terminologies that I don't even know of and the explanations to them. Also regarding lucid dreams. So do you have them now?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah. The first lucid dream that I remember, I was like, I don't know. I'm not a person that likes to go out that much anyway. I'm like a homebody. But for some reason, I was going out to this house party. And I was with my friend who, I don't know who that person was in my dream, because it wasn't a friend in this reality, right? So it must have been like the figment of my imagination.
Wow.
And I don't know why, but we were like in Mexico, and we're going to go to a house party in Mexico. And these cartel people showed up, right? And I was like, I instantly knew that they were bad people. So I was like, okay, let's run. So we ran to like the nearest little room of like the house, and I shut the door. And I remember I could see like under the door, that little slit of the door, I could see like their shoes. And something told me like, you're dreaming. And I was like, I woke up in my dream and I was like, oh, this is a dream. Like, I got so excited. This is a dream. And then I looked over to my friend and I was like, I don't know why, but the movie Inception came into play in my dream. And so I figured that the only way to wake up from this lucid dream was to like snap out of it or die or have there be like a trigger.
Yes.
So I told my friend, shoot me. And then that way,
oh my God.
Know. And why would I think that? I have no idea. Like, there could have been probably a couple of other ways that we could have handled that. But I said, shoot me. And so somehow magically she had a gun and she shot me, but she didn't hesitate to shoot me. And then when I woke up, I'm like, she shot me, and she did not even hesitate to be like,
nope, it's like The Purge.
but I knew I was lucid.
I think it may be because, you did state that you're more reserved. And, one thing I learned and I shared prior in a live before is that Sadhguru, stated that, when people label introvert, extrovert, to not label and just, some people are more vocal and some people are more reserved. We label, with astrology signs, Capricorn, Libra, etc. We label with, like colors, how we were, or we label with, just who we are, our categories of careers, different things. And, the spiritual approach, Sadhguru's approach, my guru who I follow, when he said that, it's to really be mindful, because once you label someone in that category, oh, you're a Gemini, that's why you do this, or you're an introvert, oh, that's why, like, I'm not even gonna ask you to go out, or, those kind of things, your brain can start to get programmed about people that way. So I feel like it's better to just say like, I like to take more time to myself, or like really change the language. But I do feel because you are more to yourself, you savor your energy for yourself, that may be why you're having those scenarios, because you possibly don't express it in your outgoing self, on a daily basis. So that's why it's playing out in your head, like how it would go, that like kind of rebel you, or like more adventurous you, if you're not, that's my thinking. But I did want to ask you if you know about this. So I had a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of trauma during the times when I was having these lucid dreams and sleep paralysis. And I also I used to sleepwalk as a child, and I had trauma as a child, obviously from the age of 5. So it's really interesting how I'm realizing and observing these things about myself now through this conversation with you. Do you feel, I personally feel that it may have been because of my extreme severe traumas, like multiple accounts, that why I was having sleep paralysis and having such dangerous dreams. What do you think?
I think so. I think you're right. I think what you said was perfect because it could be that you are expressing yourself through your dreams because it's what you're going through.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I mean, I'm not exactly sure, and I don't know if you want to get into your trauma.
Oh no.
But
It's about you today. Yeah.
for me, I think I'm for sure I've had some like childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what causes me to be like an introvert or whatever. But I
Very
think
interesting. Yeah.
I agree with that. We shouldn't really label people because once you label them like an Aries or
Yeah.
Gemini or Capricorn or whatever,
Right.
um, there's a lot of assumptions that go to that. And
Right.
in my experience, when people assume stuff,
Mm.
they tend to not question. And we should question things, you know?
Woo! I like that. We should question things. You better say it louder. Yes.
Question everything.
Oh, you're such a lovely soul. So you were married at the age of 23 when you were having the sleep paralysis. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow, you got married young. That's
I got married at
beautiful.
19.
Wow. That was my mom's age when she got married. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Was that like a sweetheart of yours from a young age?
No, actually, I
Wow.
met my husband October. I'm really bad at math, but I'm really good with dates.
Okay.
This is something about me. I met my husband October of 2006
Hmm.
and got married on October of 2007. So
That's beautiful. You just knew.
we just knew. I knew he was the
Mm.
one. So yeah.
Congrats. I think that's great. This little bit of personal life. We enjoy that. We accept that here. Thanks for everyone who's tuning in. I hope you're having a great Thursday morning. And, I do want to ask you regarding astrology. When did your interest start in that? And would you mind sharing, what you do for work now and how you balance things and all of that? Yeah.
Um, I'll keep it private because I don't want
Yes, keep it
to get
private.
into it, but I will share that I've got two jobs. I've got the
Yeah.
podcast, and I am.
Wow.
It's like to balance everything, and this just came suddenly, like just all this year.
Wow,
Uh,
Laura. I would not think you have to. Who knew, right?
yeah, but I'm that type of person that has to keep busy. Like,
Yeah.
if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably find something else to like entertain myself with.
Mhm. I like that.
Yeah, I'm just like go 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 go, and
Mm.
sometimes it can be a little too much, and I'm
Yeah.
grateful for my husband. He's the one. He's like, okay, you
I
gotta like,
know.
take a break. Like take a
Yeah.
break. I don't know how to do that, but
Oh my God.
yeah, scheduling calendars. I've never really used
Wow.
the calendar up until this year.
You could be a teacher. I
I
mean, if
wouldn't
you're,
want to.
yeah, like very organized, I don't know if you are, but yeah. So yeah, like so you have your website. When did you release your website? And, do you offer readings or is it just the sole purpose of giving to the community for now? Like what is it that you're doing now?
Exactly. So for now, I just want to give back. I've had all this information and I've researched all of these, things, everything from like the paranormal to the occult,
Mm-hmm.
to magic, to spirituality. And I've had a lot of, I would say, interesting experiences. I've manifested things into my life. So
Wow.
I just want to share all that information and give back and try not to make it as taboo as it is, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times, even if I've tried sharing some of the experiences I've had, it's like, oh no, oh you need to like go to church and pray. You need to like go to
Wow.
confession and it's like, no, I should really go within and
Mm-hmm.
you know heal myself within, or maybe like dive deeper. I don't think I need someone else to tell me what to do.
That's right. Ooh, I like that. So you have great boundaries then, and it's, do you feel, I know you stated you had childhood trauma, so do you feel that you really worked on your self-development, read books, had therapy, or different things? Like, what have you done to, the tools to help yourself regain that power within, right?
Yeah, one word: meditation.
Woo! I agree with you. It
Yeah,
helps you survive and
yeah.
thrive.
I've gone to therapy, and
Mhm.
it's I don't think it's helped. I really don't think.
For you, yeah.
For me, like,
Yeah. Mhm.
I'll share, growing up, I had a lot of anger issues.
Yeah. Me
And
too. We're laughing now, but
yeah,
we could be crazy,
exactly. Stick around, you'll get to know me more. No.
Mhm.
But before, I've had a lot of like issues with anger.
Yeah.
And I remember once going to therapy, and her advice was, okay, whenever you feel angry, go grab some ice, put it on your hands, and just feel it. And I was like, that's great. But in the moment when I'm angry, I'm not going to be able to think that.
Right. Right. I know, like, go wash your hand in cold water as well. I've done it, but after, like, not like, hey, let me stop to go do that. I understand what you're saying when
Like,
you're
if
angry.
anything, I'm going to grab that ice.
You're
Throw it
reacting.
at your
Yeah, because you're not same. I've done it honestly, because you're not responding, you're reacting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was your therapist that stated that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if this is all that she could do for me, then she
Mm.
doesn't, I don't feel like she's really understanding or doing her job in
Mm.
helping me, because,
Possibly not. Not all therapists are great,
right.
So maybe you didn't find the one, but maybe one day if you're open and willing and you want to do it again, that
Yeah.
you can. Because I had two ones that didn't work out, like when I first had my initial appointments. And then at the right time when I needed it, I had this really nice elderly lady. She was fantastic. And she really, like, I really transformed to what you see today because I was not like this. I started Try Together. One of the reasons because of her. She made me grow. And then I outgrew her, and I would tell her things that she didn't know. That's how I knew that I outgrew her. She said, "You don't need me anymore." That's a good therapist, when
Yeah.
you don't need them anymore because they did their job. She really helped me, but I was really going through severe trauma during that time. So even if she was doing light work, such as how she told me do ice and stuff, those like things I didn't know. So maybe to me that was like a big deal. I think for you, because you possibly right weren't going through anything severe where you needed like someone all the time right now. I talk to you once a week, because for me it was once a week. So
Yeah.
or twice a week. So I feel like it's just where you are in your life. So but thanks for sharing that. I like that. You go ahead and keep sharing. Yeah. Yeah.
Just that. I mean, and then back in 2016, I was going through a lot. I like to think of it as my Saturn's return, right?
Hmm.
Where I feel like I've had pressure, like, okay, I'm going to turn 30 pretty soon. So I need to have my life together. And what have I,
Right. Yeah.
have I've accomplished everything that I've wanted to do? Have I've gotten accepted to the school or to the university that I wanted to go to?
Oh,
I really wanted to become a lawyer.
wow. I see that for you. You
Yeah.
still can, girl. You still
Yeah.
can.
So now it's more like I wanted to help people in that way, because I feel like I've always been that person who can't stand, like, if someone's getting bullied, I can't
Mhm.
stand it, and I'll like stop it.
Mhm.
So I feel like I could channel that through becoming a lawyer. And
Mhm.
if I have all the information, all the right tools, then I could defend people. But yeah, but things, I mean, life just takes you through, a different journey. And so right now, this is where I'm at.
Right? Hell
You
yeah.
told me back then that I would be here talking about, paranormal experiences and the occult and magic, I would have been like, what? Where did that turn happen?
Wow.
But yeah, so I was going through a really rough time. I didn't get accepted into the university that I wanted to. And it wasn't because um, I had bad grades or anything. It's just I was missing credits. But I'm
Mm.
very impulsive, and I like to do things in like the now, like now.
Yeah. Urgency.
Urgency. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and so I was just like, oh, I didn't get accepted. Why did I just need one credit? How could they?
Wow.
So it's like,
What the hell? One credit? You can't talk about that with
but
me?
I think it was just everything piling on together. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to have my own house. I wanted to have
Yeah.
my degree already. Just so many different things that I wanted. And so
Right.
obviously anger is not going to help. I've tried that my whole life, and it feels good for the moment, but it keeps repeating and it keeps happening.
Mhm.
So there's no fulfillment with that.
Mhm.
So I was just like, you know what? Okay, let's try this meditation thing. What is it? What
Mhm.
is it about? Why do so many people like, or why are so many people crediting this?
Mm.
So I went in there and I downloaded the app, the Headspace app,
Yeah.
and I had like no expectations. I was just like,
Mhm.
mind was blank and clear. And that's when everything started happening. So I was able to, like, I think like my first week, man, so many things. I kept seeing faces of people when I was, because I meditate with my eyes closed, and I was meditating in front of a mirror. So I don't know if that helped. That probably did, because mirrors are portals. So I kept seeing faces of different people, ugly faces, pictures, different beings, multidimensional beings, and I kind of freaked myself out. But at the same time, I was curious, like, okay, that was scary, but let's try this again. Let's see what else.
Wow, you are brave, because I don't want to go down that road. Do you feel like you're a medium, that you haven't tapped into it or something?
I was recently told that because I do hear, and okay, whenever I share this, I feel like people think I'm crazy, but I hear voices. And it usually happens either when I'm meditating or as I'm falling asleep, when I'm in that in-between stage, or as I'm waking up. Like, I think just yesterday I was sharing with my coworkers, I'm like, I woke up today in the most weird way. I heard someone whisper my name, and that's what made me wake up. So I've had a lot of meditations. I hear ringing in my ear often, and it's not tinnitus. I've checked.
Yeah, right. Me too. I've checked that. I was like, hey, why do I get this?
All right. So I feel like I am very clairaudient, I guess. Not visual. And I feel like in the way I've opened up that door, because whenever I meditate, I set the intention that if there's anyone who wants to communicate with me, please do so through, my third eye. Don't magically manifest in this 3D plane, because I will freak out. I don't think I'm ready for that yet. But you can contact me in my dreams, or you can contact me through meditation when I'm in that stage.
Look at that power of energy.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it? That's very interesting. It's really, you ask, you manifest, you receive. Is that one of the things you were stating, that you really manifest?
Yes. So one of the first pieces of occult information that I learned were the 7 Hermetic principles, right? So like all is in the mind, correspondence, the law of vibration, etc. Everything has gender. So I really started to implement those principles into my life, and that's what helped me manifest. Like, I lived in San Diego and I felt stuck. So I just decided to take the leap. I have nothing to lose, I said. And I moved out here to Vegas, and I'm so grateful. Now I have my own house. I've got my dream job.
I've got it all.
So it's like, it's part of it. Part of it is you putting it into action as well, but with the assistance of and using the tools of the 7, Hermetic principles. So yeah, it's worked for me, and I want to share that with everybody else. So
I want to know more about those. Will you send those to me? Because I would like to manifest it all, just like you. And I have. Most of my dreams have come true within this year, honestly, through Try Together and other things that I've done. And honestly, I've made my dreams come true. I've been where I wanted to go, different things like that. Before I even met you recently, it's very interesting that what you can do with action, empower the mind, and just mindset, staying positive, and not to overuse the word positive. A lot of positive, everything is not healthy. Even I know Sadhguru says, you drive yourself insane. One thing that did come to mind, a friend of mine who works in domestic violence, a great friend of mine, one of my college best friends, he shared with me regarding schizophrenia, because, that's my mom's diagnosis. And he was sharing with me that we all have bits of schizophrenia, whether we realize or not, like talking to ourselves or smelling a smell that is not there, but like thinking about it, like your mom's pancakes or something. And these are all bits of schizophrenia. If people don't know, we just have it. It's dormant. Like, you haven't tapped into it to where it's severe. That's the very interesting part. So when you said you hear voices, it's really interesting, because like, is that like, your schizophrenia? Like, is that like a mild, or is that really you being a medium? Like, I don't know. I haven't researched this, but that's a very interesting thing,
Yes, I have those same questions, because when I first started to pay attention to those voices, I thought that too. I'm like, is this what schizophrenia is like?
Right. Yeah.
but I can fully function. So I started researching more, and I sometimes wonder, I've worked with people who have disabilities, both physical and mental,
Yeah.
bipolar, schizophrenia, just a whole variety, depression,
Right.
anxiety. And
Mm.
I've often wondered, like, we label them as being crazy and as having schizophrenia, but I wonder if these people are just more on the other side, more in touch with the other side,
Mm.
you know,
That's really interesting, you know?
because you have to be able to live in both worlds. You have to be
Wow.
like, be in this world, in this physical 3D world, and at the same time be, you know, in the spirit realm. So I wonder if those people are more in the spirit realm than they are here, and we just label them as crazy.
Mm.
Maybe we should pay attention to them more, you know?
That's an interesting thought, but you know, I believe there could be also, because my mom does have it, I believe there could be um you know, their own thoughts. Like they're not mediums to where, you know, they're hearing other people having visions or something like that. I don't know. I don't know their thoughts. But I did have a class, like it could be their own thinking, like two-dimensional. You know what I mean? There's just so much to this that I've even psychiatrists don't know, right? Like there's no answers, honestly, in the mental health realm. Like I've done research and stuff. You could be a psychiatrist, you still don't know. It's trauma, and these diagnoses are so complex that there's so many layers. Like it could be 40 years. Like for my mom, it's like a whole lifetime. So it's like to unravel all that, like that would take another lifetime, honestly. So it's just not practical. But what I want to say is that, oh, what did I want to say? All right, what was my thought? Oh man,
It'll come to you. Don't
I
worry.
don't know what my thought was, but it was regarding yeah, I've lost my thought. But I do, someone did have a question and they wanted to ask you, what tips can you give for meditation? Thank you for asking. Can you, if you're still watching, can you state your name below? It won't show, please. Thank you.
Sure. While they answer. Um, for meditation, it is very difficult for some people to just sit there and do nothing, right? But like what worked for me is guided meditation. I think for beginners,
Mhm.
because they're not used to sitting in silence, and maybe, you know, I don't know if you've heard of the term monkey mind. I'm sure you have.
Mhm.
But like, there's so many racing thoughts or many intrusive thoughts that come into your
Maya.
that can distract you from being in the present moment. So with guided meditation, I feel like it's easier. So maybe download an app or even go on, like, you know, just a search engine and search guided meditation and just do maybe 10 minutes of it, or you can even do 5. Um, and then just start out that way, because guided meditation will help you become more aware of everything. It will help you. I remember the first time I meditated, I was never aware of the floor that I was sitting in. Like I never paid
Mm.
attention to that. Like sense the actual floor, sense the floor that you're sitting on. And when I did that, I was like, oh wow, this is weird, but it's kind
Mhm.
of cool. So I would suggest that maybe guided meditation, start out with that.
I like that. Thank you, Maya, for asking. Now I know who you are. She said thank you. And hi, Roy. And hi, Cedric. And Cedric said he started reading about astrology about 10 years old. His mother gave him a book by Linda Goodman. Do you know about that book? I don't.
I don't, but that is awesome at 10 years old.
Yeah.
Wish I had my mom give me
Right.
an astrology book at 10 years.
Yeah. So I found out about astronomy from a family member, and I got interested in planets and, you know, like galaxy, and like we had astronomy class in high school. So that was more my interest. And like I love space. Like I'm going to go to space one day, like in this lifetime. Um, so you know, it's really interesting. You know, I just feel like it's all about belief. And, you know, even if, let's say you just super believe in something, and let's say it doesn't even come true, then it's like the question of, why didn't it come true? Like, did you ever wonder, like, have you ever wondered, like, you believe in something, you want to manifest it, and it's not? Do you feel like it's a matter of time, or do you feel like that's not right for you? Or do you feel like, why does that happen? Like, do you feel like it just happens, there's no answer, like it's unexplainable sometimes?
Why I feel like if I wanted to manifest something and it doesn't happen,
Mm,
it doesn't mean it's not going to. So
hmm.
it could just be us being a little bit impatient. But if it's like a time
It's been
restriction,
like 40 years. I'm
right,
waiting.
then it doesn't
And I die. You already end up dying. Then what? Yeah, what if someone didn't manifest and they died? So like then what happens? It's like, did they really believe? Like you start to question, it's like,
Yeah. I think that
Yeah.
if they didn't manifest it, it's because they didn't do enough work within.
Mm.
So maybe they had a block that they
Yeah,
weren't.
I like that.
And because I feel like it's us, it has to do with our subconscious. So we have to like reprogram ourselves because
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're not believing in yourself that you can achieve that. You don't see it. You want it,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't.
Right.
So I feel like that could be a block.
I definitely agree with that. I personally feel I have blocks. Maybe you have blocks. I feel like everyone has some blocks. I feel like that may be like, I don't know, ever changing thing, like ever going thing until we pass away. Honestly, like some kind of blocks as in each chapter of our life. Like I still do believe I may have some, money blocks and who knows, some other ones that I haven't even written down yet. But that is the one that is most prominent to me. When you're an immigrant and you come to this country and, you're used to saving or being told to be stingy and that kind of thinking and, being South Asian and South Asians have a stereotype. My friend and I were talking about this last night that it's not cool to have stereotype like, um, regarding, my house smells like curry or I'm Indian, so I'm so smart at math. And we were just talking about that stuff last night. And I feel like it's so interesting how from when we're born and we go to school, for people who do go to public school and all, like we're programmed by our surroundings, and then we're told to compare, then we're told to compete by the things we have materialistically. Then we grow, we're like, we see everything materialistically, I feel like from a younger age. But then we grow older, we're like, okay, let's say you have the materialistic job, you have all this stuff, but then you're really looking for within, like, who am I? I'm lost. I hate my job. Like, it's because from a young age, we weren't looking at the proper things, I feel, that really matter within, like you were talking about. What do you think?
I agree. And also, I just thought of it because you said, you have some money blocks. I feel like I
Mm,
do too. But then it gets me thinking, right? Like, well, why do I need money? Money is just a tool. Why don't
hmm.
I just try manifesting? Like, what do I want the money for?
Right.
Is it because I want a new car? Is it because I want a new
That's
house?
right. Hmm.
Because I want this, I want to buy more clothing. So why don't, instead of like wanting to manifest more money, why don't you just go directly to what you want to manifest? Manifest that car,
Mm,
and I feel
that's
like
right.
because money is just currency. It's just energy.
It
So, but
is.
energy, attention goes where your energy flows. So
Hmm.
go for what you want.
Yeah. And I was mentioning yesterday on a live stream that we have to touch money, as in Wahi Takeda, he's the Warren Buffett of Japan. And Ken Honda is, he was the billionaire. So no, Wahi Takeda was the billionaire, the Warren Buffett of Japan. Ken Honda studied with him and his book is Happy Money. And he talks about how Wahi Takeda, he would touch money when he goes to the bank. He would say, he would take out money. He would touch it, feel it, say arigato, which is thank you in Japanese, right? Arigato. And I learned this from Miss Smiley Mukta. Thank you for that, because she's teaching me how to properly say it. And, he would give the money to them. So basically, he's paying his bill, he's taking out the cash, feeling the money, saying thank you for that, exchanging the energy, and then going about his day. Because now everything's digital. We're not actually feeling and getting emotionally involved with the money. And that's one thing that I had stated. And I feel like it's so important too. And now I always carry cash with me. I should not say this. Please don't come for me. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Anyway, you don't know where I live. Hopefully, please just delete me. Anyway, so you know what I mean? To feel it, $1, $2. I got a nickel. Don't come for me. So the lowest of the lowest. Anyway, whatever. So it's
Maybe
so
you should say like
interesting.
you only carry $20. That's it.
That's it.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, man. Shoot. So that's so cool. And, and I do want to ask you, so, I mentioned before we started our live that about astropsychological, and I don't know much about it. I want to know, do you know about it regarding, human psychology and how astrology is intertwined with that? Have you studied anything on that yet?
I actually haven't, but that definitely sounds interesting. Have you found
Mhm.
anything on that?
So I Googled. So I'm
Okay,
going to read
yeah.
a little bit what I got.
Sure.
This is so fun. All right, so it said, psychological astrology or astropsychology is the result of the cross fertilization of the fields of astrology with depth psychology, humanistic psychology, and transpersonal psychology. So a long time ago, I did have someone on who was a transpersonal psychology major in California, I believe at Sophia University, and they were talking about that. But transpersonal psychology is stated to be spiritual psychology, and that school, Sophia University, I know you lived in Cali, but I don't, right? You lived in Cali? Yeah. But it's known to be like more for acupuncture or meditation, like anything holistic and healing, which I really think is more needed, that kind of school in expressive arts therapy. And I like that. I like that realm where they meditate, you know. It's you're a therapist as transpersonal psychology, you're a transpersonal psychologist, but you use like meditation and holistic tools instead of, you do use clinical as well, but you also take the patient through, you know, the holistic and Ayurvedic things, I believe we know. So I really like that.
That is
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like, I agree. Like, we should have more holistic medicine and more meditation and more towards the spiritual. But I also don't dismiss, you know, the Western medicine, because if you're bleeding out, of
Yeah,
course,
you need.
really.
I agree with that. Like, for example, you know, my mom's diagnosis, and it's like, you know, she needs that or she's going to deteriorate. Like, she's not living if she doesn't take that because it's so severe. So there are cases where it's like antipsychotic, psychotic, you know, cases where you need that to be stable. You have to rewire your mind, because when you take the pill at night, what it does is it rewires your brain because you have a brain health issue. It's not. So I started rewording my language since I discovered Mr. Daniel Amen's book, you know, The End of Mental Illness, that it's really your brain health, you know, because mental illness has such a stigma that I changed my language to brain health concerns. That's what it really is. Because, you know, otherwise it's, you know, it just doesn't have a great connotation, unfortunately, which I feel like you can still say it, but I feel it's a bit outdated now because it really is on your brain. So in that book, right, it showcases, you know, different brains and different stimulations, less stimulated, more stimulated, etc., what the brain needs. And he has a different approach. He has his own clinics and stuff. He kind of is the opposite approach of, you know, just a clinical, because he says, okay, there was some asbestos or some chemical from you being in NASCAR, and then he was able to realize the person was diagnosed as like ADHD. They don't have ADHD. They're taking all this medication. It's really that it was a chemical imbalance due to where they were working, something like that.
Wow.
Like, to really get to the root of the issue of like how this happened, your environment, what you do, like really to, you know, figure out your life and where in your life, why are you feeling this way? Like, it's such a different way. I feel like, of course it has a cost. I don't know what insurance or if it covers, but I feel like that work is incredible, you know,
That is amazing.
to do a brain scan, because they don't do that in community mental health. You know, I've experienced with my mom and stuff. I've advocated for it, but it's the fact that, is someone going to really get to the root of her issue? And I'm going to keep advocating, but someone needs to get the root of her issue. You did a brain scan. Okay. What did you find out? No answer. This doesn't make any sense. Like, do your job. And it's like they're taught in a system. I have nothing against, you know, doctors and things, but it's like there is a system of what they're only taught what they're taught. But it's advancing so much. Our lives are advancing so much that it's not just about what you're taught like in a school format. You need to be overly educated outside of that through life experiences and things to know that, hey, let's try this holistic way. Like, I should be able to know, this is the last thing I'm going to say regarding this, but I should be able to know regarding my mom's brain, where does she have the concern? What is it? And what can we do about this? These three things should be so easy to say by looking at a brain scan, but yet no one is able to tell me why. Like, there is no answer to this. And if you ask why, people say, I don't know. I mean, you're qualified for this position. So it's
frustrating.
It's very frustrating because, you know, people think mental health, especially if they're not even in mental health field, they just think, oh, mental health, like, you know, this term is going around, etc., self-care, blah, blah, blah. No, it is so severe. Let me tell you, where they they wrote a misdiagnosis on her paperwork. They didn't complete her paperwork fully. And this is the truth of people who don't do their job, or community mental health, and how there's a lack of, like, if there's only 3 people working during COVID, there's 300 patients. It's like they can't even keep up. And it's like they mean to do that, but it's like we're not provided the careful attention that everyone needs, I feel. And this all relates back to spiritual. Like, how can someone spiritually feel good when they're feeling they are not paid attention to for their diagnosis? Like, you know, caregiver is to give care. I was speaking with someone yesterday, and I was on their guest podcast, and the person was sharing that, you know, the caregivers come, but they're not being interactive. They're not treating them like a human being. What is this? I'm just like, what in the hell like is going on? Like, that's a person, not a robot, you know?
Right. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
I
Like
understand.
they're told to know, not conflict of interest. You're not supposed to get attached or connect with the person, but that's a person. Like you're a caregiver. You got to care, and give. Like what the hell? Like that's the name.
It's not logical because you're supposed, you're
You're
carrying
a
some
human
emotion,
being.
an
Yeah,
emotion.
you got to be emotional. Like you're doing this kind of work, or you're doing for paycheck because there's no credentials for that. You just get in there with fingerprints. So it's so interesting. They make these kind of jobs easy, and all kind of people can do it. And it's like people who have diagnosis should not just have anybody doing it for a paycheck. That's not okay. So you see all these things that I'm mentioning is it all goes back, I feel like, to I don't know, I feel like everything is connected, like you were saying regarding being a medium, because just to think that, like, when something happens to patients, let's say they pass on in rehab, things of that nature, and they don't pass on, like they weren't taken care of, and they pass on, they're like not settled in their soul and spirit. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like, because I know Sadhguru stated, like, for example, when someone commits suicide, that their soul wanders until it finds peace because they've left before their time. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Off the top of my head, I haven't really given it much thought to
Mhm.
like suicide, but if if they were troubled, if their soul was troubled, I think that
Mhm.
they might still be wandering around. They probably haven't fully
Yeah.
recovered. And sometimes people who commit suicide might be something like it might be what they wanted. So maybe you
Mm.
find peace, or maybe I feel like once you're on the other side, you maybe get more knowledge. You may be
Mhm.
able to like see things more clear and you understand. Like it's just an experience, right? You're just living, you're a spiritual being having a human experience.
Mhm.
So I feel like maybe that might have been the path that you wanted to choose for this lifetime. And it might be full of
Wow.
despair and depression and a lot of like low
Mhm.
vibrational energy, but it's a lesson that you had to learn and you came here to learn it. And once you cross over, it's like, okay, what did you learn from that? And
Mm.
then maybe you can move on to another lifetime.
Wow. I really like the perspective, and I'm glad I asked because no one has shared that perspective before that, because we're always told to prevent people from committing suicide. But this is a different thinking, that what if they were here on earth to do that, leave that way? Who knows? I don't know. I should study more on that. But I did want to ask you about one thing before we wrap up. I want to ask you about the word cult because it has such a negative connotation. Like, tell us more about cults.
Oh, oh my gosh.
Do you want to, or share something with us that you feel comfortable sharing?
I
That,
feel cults, I feel like they're everywhere, right? This might be a kind of like controversial
Mhm,
comment that I'm about to say, but I feel like even religion is a cult. Um, Anything where a group of people
mhm.
think alike, I feel like can be a cult. So I don't know, maybe I'm a cult of, chai together.
Ooh, oh my Lord. Oh my God, no.
But you're right.
Wow.
It have a lot
Your
of
perspectives are very different. I like it. It's very open and like a different, exchange of
yeah.
information. So do you feel like you're able to vocalize yourself more now? Do you feel like you have to hold back because of family or friends, or like where are you in your life with this? You feel
When
like you hold back?
I first started, I felt like I did,
Mm,
but now I feel like doing this podcast, it's a kind of therapy for me, because a lot. I may not say much like when I first
mhm,
meet people, but a lot goes on in here, like a lot
mhm.
goes on. So, and I'm not the best person to like articulate my thoughts into sentences. I have to like write it out, and I
Make
like
sure it's right because you
so
want to say it properly,
yeah.
right?
Exactly. I want to say it properly. I don't want people to like misinterpret, even though I know sometimes I can't prevent that.
Mhm.
People are going to think whatever they want to think.
Yeah.
But yes, I do feel like I'm more myself, and it's helped me become more
Yay.
myself. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
And share with us your podcast.
Yes, it's Mysteries Beyond with Laura Lavender. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and like Google Podcasts, 7 others. My website is mysteriesbeyond.com. It's on there if you guys want to follow me on Instagram. I do have to say it's not for everybody because I do have a very different perspective on things.
Mhm.
But if you have an open mind, come on, you're welcome.
Yay. Ooh, I like that. Come on, you're welcome. That's right, girl. That's
Yeah.
right. And I'm glad I asked you, what was it yesterday? yesterday when I asked you, do you have a problem with my personality or something? Because, you said how you don't open up at first and things. And it's like, I'm glad that I asked. And now I understand, like, oh, because I did see you're introvert, but it's good to communicate and know, because you don't know what people are thinking. I don't know what you were thinking. So I asked the question, but you have to have the spirit to ask. Like, I'm very vocal. So communication is definitely key, like for
And
me.
I love that you asked. You're just very direct. Like, okay.
I am very direct. You saw, girl, I sent you my shirt with my boobs. I said, look at this shirt to you and Roberto. And I was like, look at, like, cause it said, don't talk to strangers. You might fall in love with all the planets. And I'm very free. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I am who I am. And it's like, you either accept me or you don't. And this is who I always been. And this is who I'm here to be. And it's like, you can't change. You can't change what I'm here to be. You know what I mean?
No. I don't think you should. I think I can be very, like, I'm very shy at first, but once you get to know me, I feel like I get more comfortable. But at the same time, I'm very direct and I just tell it like it is. Like,
I like that.
There's no filter, I guess, in a way. Like, if you ask me, what's your opinion on this? I'm just going to give it to you straight. This is what I think. And if you like it, cool. If you don't,
right, like how I told you about the live, like, gently. And I remember I was telling Roberta, I was like, I politely, like, I was like, when I told you my criticism, I was like, yeah, I was being as nice as I can. It was a joke because I am very direct and, like, I'm fire. So I'm just like, I gave it to her gently. I said, like, so funny, but it's really cool meeting you, him, James. It's like connected through him to you guys. So I feel like the universe does things for a reason, because he found my account on his own. Like, I was like, how'd you find it? He said through a hashtag. I'm like, there's like 14.5 million through the anxiety hashtag. I'm like, how do you find my account? That's the universe, I feel, because for a reason. And he did hold space for me for certain things for a reason. It's like, and we're still in touch. But the fact that I feel like universe can align you with people in your life for times you need throughout your life, like for a season or whatever. And you wouldn't be here. He wouldn't have been on. James wouldn't have been on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have been a new vibe. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. This was a great 52 minutes.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yes. And thank you for everyone who tuned in. And I hope you all have a great day.